We're back on The Real News, and Ty's going to be getting in contact with Mr. Giles for our interview today. Mr. Giles was a first responder on 9/11. The organization is feelgoodfoundation.com, and also after our interview, when we go to the phones, we will not be able to use the 873-1400 number, so our phone number will be 336-998-9375 when we go to the phones after the second break. And our website is therealnewsradio.com, and you can email us on air at therealnewsradio.com. Hello, Mr. Giles. I'm good. We are live on the radio as we speak, and I want to thank you, Mr. Giles, for joining us on The Real News. It's an honor to have you on The Real News. You're a hero and a patriot, and to start with, I'd just like to give you the opportunity to tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and your experience on and since 9/11/2001.
Well, first of all, I'm humbled and grateful that you have invited me to be on your network. Basically, on 9/11, I was sent to coordinate the efforts on behalf of the private ambulance industry, working for a private ambulance service, and I was able to take care of 13 patients before I got injured. I outran the collapse of the South Tower, but when the North Tower collapsed, I was inside the North Tower working on a downed person, and the tower started collapsing, and I was injured, and I was then subsequently rescued by a Port Authority police officer who carried my body out and put me in an ambulance, and they rushed me up to Jacoby Medical Center in the Bronx with first and second degree burns and a scratched cornea. Life since 9/11 has been very rough for me. My health has been steadily deteriorating. I started with bronchial asthma and the World Trade Center cough, and it is logged now to 14 medical diagnoses. I take 26 medications a day, and I've been hospitalized 15 times since the attacks. And the government still sits idle and does not do anything to help 9/11 first responders.
We are aware of Congress shelved the $10 billion bill to provide health care for Ground Zero workers just this past weekend. If you could tell us what's going on with that and bring our listeners kind of up to speed with what's happening.
Well, first of all, the bill has been This bill has been going on for about 4 years now. It started off as H.R. 1638, then went to 3543, 6594, and then last weekend we were called to Washington for what was going to be a vote on H.R. 6594. So John Field of the Feel Good Foundation, who advocates for 9/11 first responders, him and I went to Washington Friday night, and we got to the congressional office Saturday morning, and we understood that there was a problem with 6594, where approximately 38 members of Congress had backed out, which would put us under the amount of votes needed for the bill to pass. They were not comfortable with some of the language in there, so they rewrote some of the bill, and they renamed it. The bill now stands as H.R. 7174, the James Droger Health and Compensation Act of 2008. So we had to phone in on Sunday to Nancy Pelosi's office, the Speaker of the House, and she was set to put the bill on the floor Sunday night for vote, and it would have passed. And then once again, we got a dagger put into us, this time by the mayor of New York City, who backed out at the last minute, at the 11th hour. He backed out and said that this was an attack on the nation, and that New York City should not have to pay any money. So he did not agree to pay out any of the money that was written in the bill, which is contradictory to what he had testified about a month earlier in front of the House Senate Committee when we had the hearings, and he said that, you know, he supported 9/11 responders and New York City was going to do what they had to do. So he basically contradicted himself, and if you ask me, he lied under oath. And now I know I'm asking for his. I've said it on a number of networks already. I believe the mayor of New York needs to step down and resign. He's seeking a third term, Coincidentally, when Rudy Giuliani, who was the mayor during the attacks, wanted to seek a third term, Bloomberg was dead against it because he said that's not the way politics works. That's not the way it works. And now Mayor Bloomberg, he's in office, he's seeking a third term. Well, I say that he needs to step down now and forget the third term also. He has betrayed 9/11 first responders. We have not gotten the respect and dignity that we deserve from the mayor and from certain members of Congress. And on the flip side of that, we do have a lot of people that are staunch and do support us. The New York delegation, Congresswoman Maloney, Congressman Nadler, Congressman Tim Bishop, Congressman Frank Pallone from New Jersey, Vito Casella, they all support us. And Nancy Pelosi has been very staunch on trying to get this bill passed for us. And here we are. We have to face, John Field said it perfectly on an interview the other day. Here we are. We have to face another Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year without having this bill passed and with financial distress for our families. I myself lost my home this past January because I can't afford to pay. I couldn't afford to pay for it. I'm totally disabled. I have no income. My workers' comp still have not been processed. My attorneys are working on it, and we're hoping to get it done by November. But how does a person live? It's hard to ask for charity, and it's just a damn shame that the government has let down 9/11 responders. And part of this I blame on our president, who said that he was going to, he came down to ground zero with a bullhorn a couple of days after the attacks, and he said soon the people that knocked down these buildings were going to hear from us, and we support you, we salute you for everything you're doing here, and anything that you need, we're going to take care of. Well, 7 years later, we still have been left out in the cold.
Isn't it just amazing in light of this week's events, while our government has $85 billion to bail out AIG, has up to $1 trillion for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, gave Georgia $1 billion. Now, everyone out there is a firefighter. I want you to pass this on. Our government has abandoned the 9/11 first responders. How do you feel as a 9/11 first responder seeing the money that has been passed out, the American people's money, to bail out corrupt banks, while our own federal government is completely inept at helping our own American citizens, our own firefighters, our own first responders?
Well, Wall Street, this is my opinion, in my opinion solely, I feel, Wall Street got themselves into this mess. Wall Street should get themselves out of this mess.
Amen.
We just signed, yesterday Congress signed a $700 billion bailout plan to bail out Wall Street. We, the American people, not just 9/11 responders, ordinary mom and pops, did not get into this. Wall Street did this. The banks did it to themselves. And now we, the American taxpayers, have to bail them out. Meanwhile, we're sending money abroad like crazy. We're paying billions of dollars a week for a war that we shouldn't even be in. And they can't afford to give us the money for this 9/11 bill so that we can take care of our health and our families, and that when we die, we can know that our wife and our children, or the opposite, our husband and our children, are taken care of. It's a damn shame. And, another thing is that neither of our candidates, you got John McCain, who is a war hero, and I will give him that. He was a prisoner of war, and I'll give him that. That's about all I'll give him. And you got Barack Obama, neither of which, and with them, Palin and Biden, neither of them have taken a stance on 9/11 responders. And I want to hear what they have to say. We have called into them. We've had call-ins to them. Other people have called. We've given the numbers out. They have not responded. So, we don't know where we're going to stand.